And I have another question. Why there is a difference between the points on these different companies?
Hmm.
Experian, what's the other one?
TransUnion
Equifax.
and Equifax.
Why they have difference? If you compare your credit, it's gonna
Hmm.
be different.
That's a great question. So remember how I said the companies are like Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's? They're three separate companies from each other. So the way it works is Bank of America has to pay the credit bureaus to report. So Bank of America, if they want that account to show up on your Equifax credit report, they have to pay Equifax to report. If they want TransUnion to report it, they have to go and they have to pay TransUnion. If they want Experian to report, they have to go and pay Experian. So what happens is a lot of times some banks, some collection companies won't report to all three. They will only report to one or two. And that's why there's a difference in your credit score. Because if my Bank of America credit card is only reporting on my Equifax report, then that's only going to impact my Equifax score. My Experian and my TransUnion don't have that Bank of America history to factor into my credit score. So that's why your credit scores are different. I guarantee you that if your credit scores are different, every account that's on one report is not going to show up on the others as well. It could be a credit card, it could be a loan, it can be a collection. So that's why your credit scores are different, because what calculates a credit score is the history on that report. So if the history is different, the score will be different.
Yeah, I noticed Experian, it's lower
Yeah.
than Equifax and TransUnion.
Yeah. Chances are either Experian has more history or more data that Equifax and TransUnion has, or the opposite. They have less data than Equifax and TransUnion have.
Actually, that happened with us. We went to the dealership, right? She checked before. Our credit was lower.
On Experian was lower, and then they use probably TransUnion or Equifax,
Yeah.
and then they said,
Higher.
"Oh, your score is
Yeah.
A15," but on
Experian.
Experian is less.
But there's also different types of credit. So your credit score for an auto loan is different than your credit score for a credit card, which is different from your credit score for a house, because they calculate the data differently. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm going to buy a car, okay, and my auto score is, let's say, a 620, but my bank card score is a 780. Why is that? Well, my bank card score is factoring heavier weight on my revolving accounts, on my credit cards, right? So I may have a lot of credit cards that I pay good. I've never been late. I pay fast. My utilization is 1% or 2%, but I have a repossession on my credit report. The repo doesn't affect my bank card score as heavy as it would my auto score. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't have one credit score. You have hundreds of credit scores, and different types of accounts have different credit scores as well. So
And
that's how it
question:
works.
Does you mentioned something about DUI and whatever?
Mhm.
Does these affect your credit?
No.
No, right?
Mm-mm. The only things that affect your credit are your accounts that you apply for credit for. So unless, like, a DUI won't affect your credit score. It has to be something related to
Payments.
payments that are reported on your credit report.
And for car financing, if you have let's say there is lease and financing, they both affect your credit in the same way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. A lot of times what happens is once you pay off your auto loan, your credit score drops. Right? Why is that? Well, that's because now you don't have that history anymore. Credit history is important, right? So if you no longer have an account, then you no longer have that good relationship being reported because it's a closed relationship, right? So why is it that I just did something good. I paid off my loan. I paid off my car. Why did my credit score drop? Because that history just ended. That relationship just ended.
So people that doesn't want to have payments and prefer to pay everything in full
Yeah.
will never build a credit.
They will build, but they will never have an A50. Right?
Do you know people that have A50?
Yeah, I know like two people.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm 11 points away. So hopefully I'll get there. 1% of the U.S. population has an A50 credit score.
Wow.
I had a 30, right?
A15.
Yeah.
The max.
But again, an
A50.
A50 in
A50.
what? Credit Karma is what people look at. Number one, Credit Karma doesn't give you your FICO score. They give you what's called your Vantage score. So let me talk about that for 1 second. You wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, you step on your scale, and you weigh, how much you weigh, Chico? Tell the truth.
98, 198.
198
livers.
pounds.
Yeah, pounds.
198 pounds on your bathroom scale, right? Then you go to the kitchen, you get some milk. Oh, man, I'm out of milk. So you go across the street to Publix, and you step on a Publix scale. How much does a Publix scale say you weigh? Not 198.
Less, maybe?
Maybe 199, 196. It's a different scale that you're stepping on, right? Or your bathroom scale says 198, but the scale at the doctor's office says 201. And it can be 30 minutes away from each other, right? It's because you're stepping on a different scale. So FICO is a company that calculates credit scores based on the credit history on the credit report. Vantage is another one of those companies that calculate a credit score based on a credit history on the report. But their calculations, their formula is different. So your Vantage score might be a 815, but your FICO score might be a 830 or a 620. They're different because it's a different scale. They're taking different formulas to calculate the score. The data is the same, but FICO may take 35% for your payment history. Vantage may only take 28% for your payment history. So that's the difference there, right? If you're comparing your FICO score to your Vantage score, then that's not true. Like a lot of people go, oh, I'm going to apply for a car loan. Credit Karma says I have a 720, and then you go to the dealership and it comes back as a 620. Why is that? Well, it's because you got your Vantage score. The dealership got your FICO score. So they're different, right? I forgot your question. What was your question?
I forgot you.
Yeah, I just went on this tangent about the difference of scores, but there's a big difference on what type of scores are you looking at. Your mortgage score is different than your auto score. Your FICO is different than your Vantage.